we reach you everywhere you are. According to our numbers, we are the largest hosting provider in the UAE. They used that offer and we lost a lot of money.
Have you seen or have you heard about website import? Hi Munir.
Hi.
Couldn't you represent yourself and your company?
Yes, sure, absolutely. So my name is Munir. I live in Dubai and I represent aeserver.com.
As I know, you work here in Emirates and also you support some countries around you.
Absolutely, that's correct. So we are a web hosting and a domain name registrar in the Middle East. Our main client base is in the United Arab Emirates, obviously where we are based. However, we serve to all the neighboring GCC countries as well as the rest of the world.
As I know, you're number one registrar here, or you're in top 3, yes?
Correct. So we are the number one privately owned .ae domain name registrar, and also, according to our numbers, we are the largest hosting provider in the UAE.
And local domain name is, so local people prefer local domain name. It's cost about?
Okay, so the cost of the .ae domain name, which is the national CCTLD of the UAE, is around, it retails from $33 to around $55, depending where you go. We sell it for around $38, sometimes it's $33.
But it's quite a huge price.
Yes, I mean the cost price, as in many cases of local CCTLDs, is pretty much higher than the other domain names.
But local people prefer this local domain instead of .com?
Yes, the local domain name, the .ae, is very popular. It's used by most of the local companies, government departments. You see, billboard advertisements with .ae domains. It's quite popular. However, there is always two sides of the story. So some people book two domains, like a gtld.com and a matching.ae, or some startups just prefer to start with a AE domain name because it's available, which on the other side might not be available in a gtld.
As I know, internet penetration here is very well, and
yes.
It's about 9 million people there, yes?
So United Arab Emirates, according to 2020 data, is around 9.6 million residents. Important to note, citizens is around, or the population of the citizens is around 10%. So majority of people here, they came from some other part of the world to work here, to start their families, some people here, I live here for 25 plus years. I know people who live here for the past 40 years.
And about internet and domains, how to relate this calculation? For example, how much domains do you manage and how many of them are in Emirates at all?
Okay, if talking about specifically .ae
yes.
domain names, in the zone, there are, according to I think last year's data, is 220,000 .ae domain names. So that's the number of the domain names. 220,000
okay.
domain names. Actually, this makes the .ae the largest domain name in the Arab world.
So 2.5% of all population, it's like that?
20, yes, correct.
And how fast it grows? It's like 3% per year? Or
It's actually growing. I don't know the exact numbers, but it is growing year by year. There were years where it was growing very fast because it's actually important to note, the history of the .ae. So before the year 2007, it was managed by a different entity, by the Local ISP in the United Arab Emirates, and then in 2007, the local government, they formed a body called the Telecom Regulatory Authority, and they became the registry. So the domain was redelegated to them. They became the registry, and now there is a registrar model. So anyone can basically.
And how people buy domains? For example, in Latin America, they typically buy domain plus hosting.
Yeah.
Here, the people buy 3-5 domains, and they buy AE domain and plus something, or they buy, 3 domains for one account, or how?
Yeah, well, we've seen different clients. We have the typical clients who just go on our website and buy a single domain name for whatever the reason. They might want to protect their brand or to keep it aside for a future project. However, we do have clients who have, plenty of domain names. Even sometimes hundreds. They book domain names for business reasons, they create websites on them, build websites for their clients, so very different.
And something about specific, so you have, as I know, very huge bandwidth there, yeah?
Yeah.
So, and all hosting costs there a lot.
Hosting in this region or in this part of the world is actually slightly, or not slightly, it is quite different from the other parts of the world because of the high bandwidth costs. You have to look at the geography, the location, the history behind the communications in this region. So, but we find our ways to work around it. We local pure local hosting, so we've got servers in Dubai. We are a RIPE member, we have our own IP namespace. We sell everything from shared hosting to cloud hosting to dedicated servers right out of Dubai.
So, and about quality and price. So, average check if you just go to the hotel, if you rent a car, if you just buy something instead of full, just a prices are a little bit higher than in Europe. And how when people buy hosting and domain, they focus like on a smaller price because 90% of local person are guys from outside, or they prefer good quality and
yeah, that's a very good question, and you're absolutely right. So the price of hosting is for the local hosting is slightly more expensive than the rest of the world. However, people here, they don't mind paying more because they want to have a local service, and we offer them a local service, local support. The servers are in the country, so they feel more safe and secure by dealing with local entity, especially with sensitive data.
Okay, and as I understood, some hosting, maybe sensitive company buy hosting there, and some of them buy hosting outside, but it's only for the short term, because in the long term, bandwidth there should be cheaper than it is.
Yeah, that's true. But again, let's think how end users think. I mean, the moment we sign up clients or businesses, they don't really count every month or every year how much the bandwidth costs. We as business people or as CEOs, we can talk about all these internal costs. But when we market the product to the clients, we obviously don't talk about the high bandwidth. So we package the product in such a way that it looks no different than hosting, let's say, in the United States, but they know they're getting hosting local in the UAE with local support, and everything is local basically.
And about payment gateways, as I know, many people prefer, as I know, some people pay by bank, just bank transfer. Some of them, of course, use PayPal or ApplePay.
Yeah.
And you have also several local payment gateways. Yes.
Yeah, we do have local payment gateways. I mean, actually in the UAE, majority of the people, or adults, they are online, they spend, they all have credit cards. The e-commerce penetration rate here is super, super high. So, majority of our clients, I would say around 80% prefer to pay through credit cards. They feel secure about it, there are no worries. We also have PayPal, which is available in the UAE. We have lots of local payments, like we have PayFort, we have PayTabs, we have Telr. There are a couple of them actually being formed every now and then. Stripe is actually coming to the UAE very soon. They're in a beta version right now.
Okay. In every country you see a lot of ads, and also if you see ads, you can understand what's happening inside the country. So GoDaddy now advertise very actively, and I see other hosting companies not so active. Couldn't you explain about global brands, and do people prefer global brands there, or they still like local brands like you, and because they trust them?
Yeah, let's be honest, it's easy for any brand out there online to reach clients in any part of the world through online advertisement, especially, let's say, Google or pay-per-click ads. And the same thing is happening in the hosting market. So we've got lots of big names advertising services in the UAE. However, they have no presence in the UAE. They don't offer any local service. But as again you said right, some people just prefer to work with brands, and they know these brands because they work with them maybe in their own home country before they came to Dubai, and they still choose those. But there is, this is changing actually. This is really changing, and we're seeing more and more people. They want to cut this line between, calling someone outside of the UAE. They want to speak to someone locally. Sometimes they visit our office for meetings. They prefer this local approach.
Just to compare, for example, when you go to North Africa, so local providers are too small, so they unable to be competitive with OVH. Of course, some of them are more successful. For example, here, what I see that people prefer, because you're biggest registrar, they prefer work with local providers, and possibly I think that a global trend that now when countries close borders, and as you see some countries like Iran, like Belarus, like Russia, like China, like North Korea, I don't know, like Ukraine, they close periodically their borders.
Yeah.
And at that time, I think for global brands it's a little bit complicated to be successful in countries like that, because some people can sometimes stress because the data are outside of Emirates. Just it's my opinion. So in the long term, local brands should
Yeah, but look, Filip, we don't really try to compete with global brands. With multi-billion-dollar brands, we create a different value for our clients.
Yes.
We try to be local, so we try to establish something new, and we do what we do best. And people actually like this. They go to providers like AE Server for a reason. They want to work with providers like us. They come to us and say, look, I'm hosted somewhere else with provider X. I want to move locally. this is just how clients work.
And couldn't you a little bit explain about your companies as well? Just in the beginning you said shortly, but for example, you have many brands, as I know. You are quite active, so you have brands for every...
Correct. So we have the main brand, which is aeserver.com, and I'm the CEO of aeserver. We also have a budget brand called WebOasis.ae. We have a couple of brands in the making. I cannot speak about them right now, but they'll be announced very soon. But yes, so we've been in the market since 2000. Well, it's a startup, a UAE-based startup. I started out of my own bedroom in 2005, but we established as a company in 2008. So yeah, we've been in the market for almost 12 years right now. And we've been growing organically, trying to compete as well with the influx of international competition.
And about your reselling model, you have many resellers, and they're quite successful reselling. Yeah.
True, absolutely. Because again, we deal in a unique market, in a unique environment, not a very popular market, I would say, where not everyone just wants hosting in Dubai, right? But there is a specific requirement from specific clients who want a local domain name, local hosting, and we have a network of resellers in Europe, United States, who come to us specifically, and they like that we have fully automated system platforms. We have very favorable prices and also an account manager for all the resellers to manage their accounts.
And about Arabic language, as I see, many websites still have only Arabic and only English. But most of them have
mostly English.
And Arabic language is a little bit complicated because it's everything switched to RTL, and also as we talk with local Arabic person, they help us to how to localize product correctly. When you, I don't know, mirror all your website, it's still not Arabic. They also like this, like.
Correct. Well, again, yes, because Arabic is basically right to left. There are some complications in that terms, but again, let's look into history a little bit. So the official language of the UAE is Arabic. However, the official language, or let's say the semi-official language of business, is English. I mean, everything here is in English, even though you see signboards in two languages. But I would say most of the population speaks English. Everyone prefers to deal in English. For Arabic websites, we have noticed that, for example, our website is not in Arabic yet. We are planning that, but we haven't really had any feedback from our clients saying, oh, you don't have an Arabic website, I don't understand your website, can you give me an Arabic version? However, we do offer Arabic support anyway, because we have a multilingual team. So we have clients who go to us and they send us emails, for example, in Arabic, or support tickets in Arabic, and we answer them in Arabic.
You have 24/7, yes?
Absolutely.
And about your location, as I know, you have several locations here in Emirates and also
Yes, so we have two offices in the UAE. So we have one in Dubai, one in Sharjah.
Couldn't you explain a little bit about server location? As I know, as you work globally, you have data center there and somewhere else?
Yes, correct. So while we focus on the UAE, we do have what's the so-called offshore hosting. The offshore hosting is located in Europe, in two countries in Europe, and we also have some servers in the United States. So when clients actually order from our website, they can choose a location, and some clients specifically prepare to be hosted, let's say, in Europe, and they choose Europe. Some of them only look for UAE, so we have different pages for different packages, and it's clearly mentioned that where the data center is located. Basically, that's on our cloud hosting. So on our cloud hosting, we offer our clients a choice. For example, clients who host in Dubai, they can quickly move their data to our cloud in Europe. They can also use the European cloud as a disaster recovery site. So these are the options, and it's one network. So we have great, networking tunnels between them, which make, the transfer speeds much higher.
Munir, is it possible to find hosting a domain in desert?
Well, Filip, of course. Look at this. We are in Dubai.
We're in the middle of Dubai.
We are in the middle of the Dubai desert. However, we do have domains, web hosting, and even a Dubai-based cloud. Presenting to you aeserver.com.
There are no 3G, no 5G, no internet, but aeserver.ae still works.
We reach you everywhere you are.
So let's talk about website builders in Emirates.
Sure.
So have you seen some competitors who use it, or some other global brands, or is it popular? Is its popularity is growing, or how it works?
Yeah, we do have lots of providers in United Arab Emirates, and they do use website builders. We use one as well. I think it's a very powerful tool for any modern business that's either already established or for an entrepreneur who is trying to establish a new business.
5 years ago, there were no site builders. Now the popularity is growing. If you compare with how it works?
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, the reason I feel why the popularity of the site builders is growing is due to the fact that there are lots of site builders out there who are investing heavily into ads online. They are reaching people and new customers online, on YouTube, on Facebook, and other social media, and they are trying to convey the idea that anyone, you sitting right there watching this video right now, you can just go online and create a website from scratch with no technical skills, no coding. And this idea alone creates a lot of hype for site builders, and people are keen to try it.
And I think that there are a lot of small businesses who are only launching, and they have no enough money ever for rent, so they can do it very fast, and this is why website builder popularity growing.
Yes, absolutely correct. That's very true. And plus, lots of site builders offer a freemium model, right, where they allow you to create a website. You build a website, and only when you hit the publish button, you see that there is a cost to it. So, absolutely.
Have you seen or have you heard about website import? How it works? Is it helping your business, or, for example, have you seen that some other competitors use it? And what do you think about the future of website import? Is it like a good technology, or just your opinion?
I think it's a cool technology. It does serve a purpose, and it solves one of the biggest challenges the day-to-day website builder users. The issue that website users face is that they are locked into a particular vendor and they cannot export the website. However, let's say they are unhappy with the particular vendor and they want to change the provider. They prefer to move to a different provider, and then they find themselves locked that they cannot export the files, and of course such tool comes handy. We have seen competition using it, and I've tried it myself. I've tried your tool. I think it has a great potential.
And what do you think about unused domains? Every provider has lots of unused domains.
Yeah.
What do you think about website builder helping them to start renewing this domain and start to using these domains as a normal website?
Sure, I agree with you. We do have customers like that as well. We have clients who simply book domain names and they don't park them anywhere, they don't use them for anything. So I think by using a website builder, that's a great upsell opportunity. It allows to uncover some lost revenue, perhaps by allowing clients to create a landing page or simply test out their idea online and build a website.
And maybe about your experience, about life hacks and about your biggest fails. Maybe do you have a biggest fails that you can share with guys? So many users do their own fails, but when they listen to other fails, they can learn faster. Yeah,
okay. Well, I mean, I think as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, all of us have some failures. We did have one a couple of years ago where we were preparing a promotion for the domain name registration, and we were doing it in a hurry, and we messed up with the prices basically. So we ended up selling the domain name, and it was a ccTLD domain name, which was very expensive. The cost price was very expensive, and we ended up selling this domain name for almost 50% less than its cost price that we pay for it. And because people saw the opportunity, especially domainers who book domains in bulk, they used that offer, and we lost a lot of money. It took us I think 6 to 7 hours to realize that, because it was night when we launched it. So by in the morning when we came back to the office, we basically fixed our mistake, which was it was expensive, but the funny thing, at least 50% of those clients renewed next year, and we still recovered some income.
By the way, we tried to sell some domains cheaper than we buy it as well, and we wait for the huge traffic. We just test with several TLDs, just to test if a good price influence the sales, and we didn't see just any relationship. Maybe just our quantity is too small, but we haven't even seen changes in that domain. But we sell it cheaper, and we understood that people who need domain, who needs domain, they buy it in any price.
Yeah, they will buy it anyway. I totally agree with you, and I know exactly what you're speaking about. Especially since we work in the ccTLD market, we have the same thing. We've been testing different prices. We've been trying to sell domains at cost price, at high price, at middle price, and as you just said, it doesn't necessarily really increase the number of registrations. It does because of the promotion hype to it, that you have a limited time promotion. But in the long run, I believe people go for that domain name specifically, even if it's a ccTLD for a specific reason.
And what about maybe your best campaign, or maybe things that really succeeded, and maybe what really helped you to run the business very well?
Okay, so we do have some campaigns running during like high season and promotions like Black Friday. I mean, we call it White Friday in the UAE, for example.
So
and again,
you call it White Friday?
Yes, there is a huge e-commerce player that's like an online e-commerce shop. That's no, 11.11 is like Singles Day, I think, but there is we have a similar e-commerce website like eBay or let's say Amazon. Instead of calling it Black Friday, they call it White Friday. So we've also picked up the same name. I mean, we tried Red Friday, Black Friday, because some companies have a Yellow Friday, Orange Friday, and since we learned in our previous mistake that we undersold or we sold the domain names for much less than they cost, we made a cost price promotion, and the cost price promotion was basically we allowed clients for the first time to register the local domain name at cost price, so we did not make any money out of it. We even, we had to basically absorb some costs, especially the credit card processing fees and third-party payment gateway fees, and it did generate a good hype for us. This was, I think, one of our most, good examples, or one of the biggest examples we had. The second example I would say is bundling with web hosting packages. Let's say giving out a free domain name with web hosting works quite well, especially if the domain name is expensive, like in this part of the world. We bundle it in the price with web hosting, and people look at it as a package. So they see a bigger value. They get emails, they get a website builder, they get a domain name, and they just go for it.
In our case, we now tested the free version of our product, and we see that we increased registration by 70%, and we start analyzing what kind of registration. So we see that the still customer flow is the same, but all these new 70%, they just came for this free. So no magic happens, but the idea is that when you offer something for free, so new traffic comes, they register it for free, all other traffic stays the same, and all this new, you just need to manage them carefully. But also a good idea. Do our best implementing growth hacking, and it's really takes a lot of energy from the team, and we do a lot of small testing, and now we see that small test every day and every week, and understanding this test very carefully, and ever some tests can work on one project, and the same test enable to work on other projects. As example, we have a free plan on our B1 LTE project, and we remove free plan, and our sales grow up maybe 2.5 times in 1 month. So we have sales, we remove the free plan, and grow to
right.
And we really increase company income just in 1 month, just removing free plan. And with Site.pro, we also did free websites for end customers, and then we decide if it works with V1, why it wouldn't able to work with Site.pro. So it was income like that. We remove free plan, and nothing happens. And then we understood that you really need to work with customers while they're hot.
No, I agree with you. I agree. And one solution we implemented for such clients, to avoid this churn, is that we always call up the clients, especially as you said, while they are hot or warm, to understand what they're looking to achieve with their newly purchased domain name or a hosting package or a cloud server. What they're looking to achieve with the cloud server. So we try to tailor make a custom package for them, and we make internal notes. Okay, this client wants a hosting package 3 months later, or he wants to build a website with a website builder 6 months later. So we give him another call or send him an email. So customer support is very interesting.
As I know, you try call customer, and it works very well for you.
I would say
when they're talking with GoDaddy, they also said that they have not support, but a team who support the customer, and they also provide phone very usually. So this US brand, not there, but just when they talk with US team, they call is it's really it's more call center than technical support.
I agree. I think this story has two sides of the coin. Some clients say, look, I appreciate you calling me, thank you so much, but I know exactly what I want, so if I need something, I know how to find you. I will go to your website and buy it. And some clients say, oh really, I didn't know that you offer web hosting or a website builder, for example, even though they see it on the checkout process, right? So for whatever reason, all of us are humans and we are different, I guess. So we see two types of clients, and we try to patiently explain the reason of the call, even to those who say, please don't call me again. If I need something, I'll come back to you. So we simply mark in our CRM that, okay, we don't need to annoy this client anymore. However, from time to time, we still send out company announcement, marketing emails, and so on. And the other clients who are lost, who say, okay, I don't know how to start, where to start, how to create a website, we try to assist them to a particular level that's within the scope of the technical support. If we see they really need more time and resources, we upsell our managed services.
Also, let's talk a little bit about business specific in here in Emirates. For example, you have 7 Emirates, and every Emirate has his own rule. And there are a lot of, I don't know, 40 you said economic zones.
Free zones, yes. Okay. So first of all Emirates, are governed by the federal law. Like there's a federal system which comes from the capital, the UAE. However, there are certain laws, or let's say commercial law, that applies into particular zones within the city. Like for example, in Dubai we have specialized zones, the so-called free zones, like Dubai Internet City, Dubai Media City. Those are economic zones which have their own commercial law, their own immigration laws, their own company code, bankruptcy laws, and so on. So people, depending on the activity of the company, let's say we are in the IT industry, or they call it here e-commerce or IT services, there are specific free zones for that. It means that you are basically establishing your company in a specialized free zone where you will have like-minded companies and businesses around you. So perhaps your neighbor can be in Internet City, Microsoft or Google, and you can interact with their staff members, perhaps even sell something, right? But yes, we do have 7 Emirates, and every Emirate there are similar free zones, and they offer lots of benefits, like tax benefits. For example, in the UAE we have no corporate or income tax. We have VAT, value-added tax, from 2018, which is only at 5%, so it's still very low compared to other countries in the world.
But for example, in our country, when I get money from customer, I should write invoice for him. If for example, I'm in Lithuania and I get money from Brazil, and if it's end customer, I need to pay. Okay, if for example from France, I need to pay VAT in France. I need to pay VAT directly to France, so I need to write an invoice. Then when I get money at the end of the month, of course I will do my income declaration, and also I provide additional declaration for France because I get money from France, and also I provide the customer name, his ID and his address to our tax system. And also, if I, for example, sell for somebody, for example, in Germany, and he write me incorrect VAT, and when I declare this customer every month to my tax office, and their ID is not correct, they contact me and say, hey guy, please provide me correct declaration.
Okay.
So you compare with that?
Well, that's very complicated, I would say. No, here it's much easier. As I said, we just have the value-added tax system, which is a consumer tax at 5%, was implemented just 2 years ago. For corporate, for business, B2B transactions, of course, as a company, we do issue invoices for every single purchase on our website. It's automated through the billing system. But no, we don't have such complicated, reporting and accounting system. We do have quarterly VAT declarations, which we do, and it's fully online. The UAE is moving into, or they already moved actually, into a very so-called high-tech e-government, smart government model. Most of the government transactions, from immigration to law to courts to VAT, can be done online from the comfort of your home or office. So in this way, yes, doing business here is very, very comfortable. I guess what you're saying is that for every single transaction that comes into your bank, you need to keep a certain documentation to prove for your tax authorities and so on.
Typically in Russia, they also need everything but signed. With the customer sign. Okay, that's complicated. No, they as far as I'm aware, no. We have an accountant who does all our accounting for us, and it's very convenient here, and this is why Dubai is really the place to do business. And maybe the result, possibly when you go through Dubai main street, in 10 minutes you can pass 5 Ferrari shops It's also Bentley.
Yeah.
Of course, Bentley, Rolls-Royce, Jeeps. Maserati, like.
Maserati is like yeah.
It's like Chevrolet in our country.
Yeah.
And also Lamborghini, several Lamborghini salons. And as I see, cars are a little bit more cheaper than in our countries. Also, fuel cost there twice less, or maybe ever more or less. So and because cars cost less, fuel costs nothing, and also taxes are much smaller. I think that like Emirates is a place for good cars because it's like.
Yeah, so we don't have any tax on other than the VAT. If you're buying obviously a new car from the showroom, you'll pay 5% VAT. But when I did my own research and I compared prices to let's say Europe, to the CIS countries, even to North America, again it depends on the car brands. Let's say American cars are much cheaper in America than here, but luxury cars, yes. I know people who buy cars from here and they export them to Europe, to Africa, because it's much cheaper here. And again, fuel is cheap. It was even cheaper a couple of years ago. It used to. So if you buy, let's say, a 1 liter bottle of water, or half a liter, it would cost you 1 dirham, which is around 27 cents.
Yeah.
The same amount if you fill it, the same bottle if you fill it with let's say 95 or 98 gasoline, is gonna cost you less than that bottle of water. Now things slightly changed. Now basically the fuel price is linked to the oil price. It's fluctuating, so every month there is a re-indexing of the price. Today when I filled up my car, the 1 liter of the 95 gasoline was around, I would say, 1.8 dirhams, which is around $0.47, around 50 cents, yeah.
And also the last question, for example, if like a prince of Emirates, I don't know how we call it.
Yeah, the sheikh.
The sheikh, for example, comes to us, he would say that we have the highest building, we have the biggest fountains, I don't know, we have like the biggest community that they support from government, they have like, I don't know, biggest maybe artificial palm and a lot of
the
things.
Palm
like
Island, yes.
Yeah, and also you have 3 palms, so.
Correct, we've got 3.
So there are no countries.
The one you see is the smallest one of them. There are 2.
Yeah, so 2
which are unfinished, but they were supposed to be larger.
I think should be finished somehow.
Yeah.
And the question, if he suggests you like tons of money to build something biggest or fastest, or what you would do?
Oh, that's a good question. I would build a huge data center, a carrier neutral data center, and basically have everyone in this region host locally. I think there is huge potential in this region. Lots of businesses, lots of data, and as we all know, data is the new digital, oil, and
possibly
you have
like
to harvest it. Yeah.
Biggest world data center or something like that, like biggest hub.
Yes, absolutely, exactly. Why not? Let's say the world's largest data center. Invite all the hosting providers, cloud providers to host within the country. Offer them, substantial savings on bandwidth, on other costs associated. Yeah.
Like central in EMEA, or as you said earlier, this. 6 countries in one union.
The GCC states. Okay, so since we are in the UAE, it's part of the GCC. There are 6 countries. So you have United Arab Emirates, you have Saudi Arabia, you have Oman, Qatar, Bahrain, and Kuwait. So, for example, you can drive right now from Dubai to Oman. In 4.5 hours, you are in the capital of Oman, Muscat.
Yeah. So I think that the next step could be there, like biggest world data center. So
yeah, absolutely. And again, we are located geographically in the middle of the world. We are like, I think, maximum of 8 hours away from the top megapolis cities in the world, where the biggest economies are based. So it makes Dubai a very convenient place for business, for tourism, and perhaps for data.
So I was in Dubai World, and I saw like this Ferrari prototypes, and I saw one Ferrari that it was only drawings, and so Sheikh came to Ferrari and said, "What guys, what you're selling? It's like cheap cars. I need something special."
Yeah.
So whole Ferrari produce drawings for him and make prototype car, just one Ferrari, just for him.
Yeah, well, in Dubai everything is possible. That's what our Sheikh says. Nothing is impossible in Dubai. Everything is possible.
Like world largest data center is coming there.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Filip.